A French greeting for the occupiers is just around the corner.
You can't see anything, but it's crazy. A fire has started.
Russians, get ready. Scalps and storm shadows will soon be flying into Russian territory from a brand new weapon for them, French 4th plus generation Mirage fighter jets. They're hurrying to Ukraine, and maybe they're already here. The media reports that Ukraine is supposed to receive the first 3 fighter jets by January 20th. However, experts do not rule out that they might already be in Ukraine. And that's really possible since the pilots are already prepared. At the end of December, Ukrainian specialists finished their training of the Mirages.
After 6 months of training Ukrainian pilots and mechanics on the Mirage 2005F, it has been completed. Merry Christmas!
How much will the new Mirage strengthen Ukraine's defense? What kind of armament can it carry? And how is the French jet prepared to work in tandem with the F-16? All of this coming up in just a moment. The story of the Mirage began in the 1970s. Dassault Aviation developed the fighter jet, and in 1978 the French aircraft first flew. However, any prototype is not perfect at first, so the fighter was only adopted into service 6 years after its first flight, immediately taking an honored place in the arsenal of the French Air Force. So honored, in fact, that the Mirage remained France's main combat aircraft until the beginning of the 21st century. Although for the developers not everything was perfect, since they certainly envisioned the Mirage as a fighter capable of intercepting any aerial target in any weather conditions.
Because it's impossible to create a perfect aircraft for every mission. Usually, if it's an attack aircraft, it works against ground targets. The Mirage was also originally conceived as a fighter aircraft, but over time the requirements of modern warfare, armed conflicts and even deterrence changed. That is, the need to be able to deliver a preemptive nuclear strike.
That's why the developers took a different approach. They created different sub-variants of the same aircraft. For example, the interceptor fighter was named Mirage 2000C. The strike fighter bomber, which carries conventional weapons, is the 2000D. There is an expert multi-role modification called the Mirage 2000E and a single-seat reconnaissance version, the 2000R. If a preemptive nuclear strike is needed, the 2000N is used for that. And there's also the Mirage 2005. This is a modernized export version with improved radars and a new control system.
If they provide the Mirage 2005 specifically for use with guided bombs and AASM HEMA, as well as Mika air-to-air missiles, it already becomes a good tool for air defense in Ukraine's rear areas and for the role of flying artillery near the front line. If, by any chance, we get Mirages equipped with long-range Scalp EG cruise missiles, then at the same time, we could free up the Su-24s for upgrades to carry the same Taurus missiles.
Ivan Kirichevsky, an expert from Defense Express, talked about this back in 2024, and he was absolutely right. Ukraine will indeed receive Mirage 2000s, with the nuance that this will be the 2005F variant. One of the differences in particular is that the 2005F was made for the French Air Force, not for export. It should be noted that this is the kind of fighter where weaponry decides everything. For aerial combat with something like the Su-35, it's not the best option. And here the Mirage loses to the American F-16. After all, the latter takes down the Su-35 like it's nothing. When the Chinese simulated air combat scenarios of the F-16 against Soviet-Russian aircraft, the Russians were left in tears. The Americans scored 65 victories in 65 aerial engagements. Moreover, the Mirage also loses to the American because the F-16 is incredibly versatile. Depending on its armament and equipment, it can perform the roles of 4 different aircraft at once. It is a highly advanced and versatile fighter designed specifically for air combat against enemy aircraft and electronic warfare aircraft intended for suppressing and destroying hostile air defenses, a powerful fighter bomber that is fully capable of striking a wide range of ground targets, and also an effective interceptor for hunting down cruise missiles as well as enemy bombers.
It has been battle tested and it is quite inexpensive due to mass production. So it is economical in the first place. It is cost effective because for minimal money, for minimal cost, you get maximum efficiency. There are many aircraft of this type among allied countries. That's why we can both train pilots there and obtain some spare parts and receive weapon kits for this aircraft by turning to our closest allies.
To put it simply, the Mirage really doesn't measure up to the F-16, but it doesn't have to. The French plane won't compete with the American one, it will complement it. We've said it before, but it's nice to repeat. The Mirage is first and foremost an additional platform for carrying French and British long-range missiles.
It has 9 hardpoints, as I mentioned, but it's important to note that it can't even be compared to Russian aircraft. It carries the most advanced weaponry, including those very Scalp and Storm Shadow missiles.
The Mirage arsenal also includes, for example, long-range ASM hammer bombs, which are excellent at handling so-called frontline tasks. One thing is certain, Russian invaders on the front lines definitely won't have an easy time. Moreover, the Mirages will be a great boost to Ukraine's air defense. The French jets are equipped with advanced radars and electronic warfare systems, and they can also stay in the air for a very long time. This means that Russian missiles and Shahids have been given a death sentence.
6,900 kilograms of payload. This can be bombs, missiles, a huge variety. Moreover, they can carry external fuel tanks, so the payload weight can be reduced if greater range is needed or if they simply need to stay airborne for a long time. For example, for intercepting something or for patrolling.
Once again, the Mirage is not an F-16. There's not much point in comparing them directly. However, the Americans are supplying Ukraine with F-16s only in relatively small batches. And the fighter jets like the Mirage will significantly strengthen the Ukrainian Air Force and support the F-16s as well. Having an aircraft fleet is an extremely important factor for any country. Ukraine is no exception. Moreover, the Mirages are not our last addition. Ukrainian defenders may still receive Swedish Gripen fighter jets. And when that happens, we will definitely let you know. In the meantime, give this video a like. Let us know in the comments what you think about the Mirages and be sure to subscribe to our new Arsenal channel. The link is in the description below the video.